Catholic too. Like during the Knights of Columbus, and like my mom taught at school, and like I look at it now and I'm like, oh shit, my parents are kind of in a cult. Like it didn't really seem that way like when I was a kid, but to the extent that they're involved in it, it is a little bit.
Now, do you think your parents have ever watched one of your films?
No, somebody linked my dad to my Twitter, and that was how they found out.
And you have some fairly, I went on your Twitter today, a little research or whatever, and like on your Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, how is that?
Twitter's okay. You can have adult content on Twitter.
Because that's like...
It does say when you go to follow me that you have to be 18.
But, I mean, there's really no way to...
No. But their terms and services allow for adult content. Instagram does not. That's why I'm not... I had Instagram deleted. I had like 50,000 followers and I got it deleted like last year.
Because you put...
I didn't even put... I think I like... because their terms and services change all the time. And I think I just like linked to my OnlyFans or something, and you're not allowed to do that. And it was just like they just send you a really rude email and you can't log in anymore. I had to like open a new one.
Well, that's what I was blown away by. Chandler found out she got banned for life.
Yeah.
From TikTok Live. It was a dog walk or something, and she said, hey, my arm's tired. Will you tell a story about the Comedy Store?
Yeah.
And there was one night at the store where two comics were arguing who had the bigger dick. Me and Don Barris are on stage, and Don is like the ringleader of insanity.
I know Don. He's hilarious.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah, he's always been really, really nice to me.
He's very respectful.
Yeah.
But he can get anyone to do anything, and the girl, there was a porn actress in the room, and she said, well, why don't you guys get on stage, and I'll blow both of you, and we'll see. So you cut to me and Don on stage doing our music thing, a completely naked female blowing two comics, and it was like the two worlds of... And first of all, when me and Don...
Wait, she really did blow them.
Oh, it was...
That's fantastic.
It was... like this happened probably 5-6 years ago, and my mind is still blown at... but this was before the store was like popping. Like, it was like in the dark era of the store where it was funner to be up there because like comics were having sex in every room, and like it was just complete insanity. They would have gambling parties in the main room, and just the fact that this was happened was like when it started. Me and Don were on stage in front of maybe 4 people, maybe 4. Halfway through what was going on, you couldn't fit another body in that original room, and the girl stayed on stage completely naked, taking questions.
Hilarious. That's awesome.
Well, it was in the Wild West days of the Comedy Store.
Will this bother you? Do you mind?
Oh no, it's
okay,
all good.
Cool, thank you.
Or on Facebook Live, I should.
Wait, can they see me too?
Oh yeah, well they don't want to see me.
Oh man, I'm like really sweaty. That's
no, it's all good. For
it's
you,
so fucking hot in LA right now.
It is hot. We have Kate Kennedy, comic and porn star.
Yes.
Just breaking down the two worlds, which I think are very similar.
They are very similar.
In terms of the stress, the sadness, and the happiness.
The lifestyle too. You spend a lot of time buying. That's why like this doesn't bother me as much as it does some people like with the pandemic. Because I'm used to be like sitting alone and like banging my head against the wall trying to like write something or figure something out. It's a very like solitary occupation at the end.
I love it in terms of the daytime. I'd be home right now.
I would be home right now just hanging out and like writing something or coming up with some new idea to do.
Yeah, like doing a podcast or
whatever. Yeah, it's fun. Like my lifestyle's really not that much different than like I think most young creative people in LA.
Well, it's creative.
I have less roommates.
Do you live? What's your living?
I live alone. I have a dog. I have a 3-legged German short-haired pointer. Her name is Squeegee. Because her bad leg looks like a squeegee when she moves it up and down.
Oh, so she still has it.
She's born that way. It's a birth defect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she actually just had surgery on one of her back legs a couple weeks ago. I fucking love this dog, but she's cost me like $10,000. I love her so much.
Well, that's the great thing about dog. I had a dog once that was in the hospital for a month straight.
Yeah.
The dog cost $700. Literally, it probably spent $5,000 and she had like a liver thing and all that. It's amazing how much you'll spend on a dog.
Oh, like in a size. This is her because has like her one front one and then the chicken wing and her back legs. She had TPLO surgery like 2 years ago. It's the doggy equivalent of like tearing your ACL. Right. And once one goes, the other will go too. Like it's just
like the overcompensation.
Yeah, they like when they did the first one, and the first one was like $5,000, and like in a few years the other one's gonna go, and it went like right. My birthday was earlier this month. It was the 13th, and it went on like the 10th. Right. And so she had to go for emergency surgery, which was so weird because you have to just like drop them off on curb. You can't go in.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm. And so, but she's recovering. She's doing really good. Actually, we're moving tomorrow to just a bigger unit in my building now. Okay. Because my OnlyFans is doing really well. I'm in the top like 1% of OnlyFans. So,
I'm not asking you how much you how much could, like, if you're in the top 1%, just give me a ballpark of like.
It's 6 figures.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm in the wrong business.
But a lot of it also goes that because like I employ a lot of other people, so like I often have to pay for like makeup artists or editing,
hairstylists,
all that kind of stuff, and plus like the testing. My test is $160 every 2 weeks for everything. Right. Yeah.
So
that's out of pocket.
Can you work with any, like, is it any disease, or is it like there one? Oh, well, you have herpes, but you can still work, or like.
So there's not a test for herpes, like even in general there isn't. Right. The one that they do have is like very, it's like only has like a 70% accuracy rate. Actually, that's been brought up again because they're talking about testing for COVID, and it has a similar accuracy rate. But so they test for everything. So it's like HIV, chlamydia, gonorrhea, hepatitis, like a bunch of kinds of hepatitis. So it's basically everything. It's the gold standard. All of them you can get tested for, pretty much.
Is there one disease that you could still, let's say...
You shouldn't.
Right, so...
I wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I check, and that's the other thing, too, is generally speaking, we, like, examine each other's bodies before we work together. So, like, we'll stand naked in front of each other and, like, look at every inch of the other person's...
And how... I mean, I once had a friend who slept with a lot of women, and I'm like... And he never used condoms. And I was like, well, dude, aren't you worried? He's like, no, dude, I just look at it. Like, can you look at someone's pee-pee?
For certain things, like, you can tell, like, a man, those things are fucking gnarly, and that's on the outside of your dick. And then also just, like, rashes or anything, like, because you don't want to get, like, ringworm or something like that, too, you know?
Like, what's a male yeast infection? I didn't even know that was possible. What is that? It kind
of looks like athlete's foot, but it's on your dick.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And then when you find something like that, do you generally tell the guy, hey, man, tonight might not be the night we should work together?
I've only had to do that one time on a set, and I was doing a blow bang, and I felt really bad because it was like it was a great day on set because the director is a good friend of mine, and all the guys in it are like good friends of mine. So it was like hanging out with all your bros, and it was gonna be a really fun day. And one of the guys who was there was a young kid. He's like new in the business, and he's like 19, 20, and I'd worked with a super nice guy, like good talent. And we started to take pictures, and I saw it, and I had to like pull the director aside because I don't want to like humiliate this kid, right? Like, it's the other thing is too is that like these are things that happen, and you're not dirty or gross or wrong. You just have to go to the doctor. It's a cream. It's not a big deal, but you don't want to humiliate someone. And so I had to go and be like, hey, like this is the deal, and he had to pull him off set. And the guy later like sent me a really long apology and was like, I'm so sorry, and I didn't know, and he genuinely didn't know. But it went well. Everyone took it well, so that's good.
Now, for men in porn, even though most people women, is there like an age of this guy's too old? Like, is it this, like?
I work with a lot of older guys. Like, I work with Steve Holmes all the time. I don't know if you know who he is.
I do not. I know Jeff Stryker, just because he's like a. Now, someone told me the other day that Jeff Stryker is straight, but he's like a gay icon. Like, is that?
I do not know him. I've never met him.
He's older for sure. If he was the guy in Circus of Books with the mustache and like he was so big in the 80s and 90s that on the corner of La Cienega and Santa Monica, which I know for you out of towners, you're like, what the fuck is that? It's a huge intersection.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a Kylie Jenner billboard, and across is the Spotify billboard. which is for their hot young artists. Jeff Stryker will get the Spotify billboard of his latest movies. I mean, that's how big he was.
I was walking out of Pilates right before this happened, and it was like the first fucking time. Like, I was gonna get into Pilates this year and like start working out, and then, so it's not my fault that I didn't go back. But I like walked out, I looked up, and there's just a giant Riley Reid billboard.
Is she like the big?
She's like one of the biggest, yeah.
And why is that?
I mean, she's been. That's the other thing people don't realize is that like and the average career length for a porn star, like a porn performer in the U.S. is 3 to 6 months for a female performer.
That's the average career.
Yeah.
Is it because, like my friend so eloquently said, dude only wants to jack off with the same girl?
Sometimes it is. I mean, people get into it for a lot of reasons. Like, sometimes girls just get in, get out to make a few $1,000s and pay their tuition. And some people want to make it a career. And some people, like, hit right off the, like, from the get-go. And other people, it takes 10 years. Like, Riley Reid is 29, I think. And she's been doing this since she was 19.
So I would imagine that...
like, Angela White's one of the biggest stars, and she's been doing it for 15 years. It takes a long time to really... Like, it took me a solid 2.5 years to get to this point, and I'm a pretty middle-tier performer.
But you want to get to the Riley Reid...
No, I don't need to. I mean, I like my career path of combining porn and comedy. I'm writing a book about it right now, and that was always kind of my... Like, because I, like, went to college. I got into this older. Like, I started performing when I was 23, 24.
Like, what made you, like, you know, I had friends of mine who I said, hey, I'm having this porn girl on, and they're like, dude, you gotta ask her, like, at what point in her life did she go left when she should have gone right? And I often, like, thought about that, like, when I for the first paid gig I ever had in comedy was a gangbang. Like, it was a gangbang in Van Nuys.
Yeah.
It's $2,500 cash. I mean, and I didn't have 10 minutes of material. And I go to this place, and you know, it's like a couple hundred guys. This was that time in porn where the gangbang films were trying to outdo each other.
Like the really big, like bukkake ones.
I don't know.
I know what you're talking. My good friend, Jim Powers. He's the director, and he's one of my favorite people.
Well, this is like right around the time, and you might not have even been born yet, where they had a porn called the Houston 500.
Yeah, he used to do that kind of stuff. It was like, we talk about it on set because I work for him a lot, and he's a huge TV guy, so we text about whatever we're watching. But he would, like, they would put out ads on like Craigslist and stuff, and like on like anywhere. They would literally take out ads to try to get enough guys.
Well, I mean, I just never forget, I was told, show up at this warehouse, this big black aisle, he's a security, he'll let you in, and, you know, go to this warehouse, the guy's like, are you the comic? I'm like, yeah, I guess, but I was told I'd get paid before, so he takes out $25 $100 bills. I mean, it was a stack, and he just gives it to me. I'm like, okay, now what? He said, go in. So I go in, and there's like, it seemed like thousands, but I'm sure it was just a few hundred naked dudes, and I'm like, what? And I remember going outside to the black guy going, I'm not fucking anyone in that room. And they're like, oh, you just do stand up. I'm like, where? And he's like, over there. And they pointed to the stage. It looked like they had a mattress on it. And I get up there. I'm like, oh, fuck, that is a mattress. So I was basically doing crowd work in between guys.
That's amazing.
Having sex with this girl. And I ended up bonding with the girl because I was literally the only guy in the room not trying to fuck her.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at her just going, at what point in your life did you think this was a good move? And I wasn't making fun of her. Like,
yeah.
I mean, what made you want to do this for a living?
I think that question's so funny because I genuinely think that you can ask the same thing about doing comedy. Like, what broke? Like, what was it that you're like, I think, you know, and to me, they're very similar things. Like, I always, and like, they're similar for the same reasons of why I wanted to do them, is that, like, I mean, I grew up feeling really, like, I just didn't fit in the environment I was in, and I was always, like, a smart kid. I went to college, I graduated college, I was on the dean's list, like, I have 2 degrees, and I kind of did that whole, I was supposed to, like, be my life, and I was supposed to get, like, a job in marketing and probably marry somebody named, like, Brad. Or like
Brad
Kyle.
in accounting.
Yeah, like an account. Yeah, like totally. And that just, it was never, like, I always wanted to be like an artist and a writer, and I wanted to go do things. And like, the other thing, like part of that is that I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't have the money to go do anything because I don't have a trust fund. And it's so hard to have a career in anything creative today if you can't work for free for months and months and months and have your parents pay your rent, and that wasn't an option for me. So I got out of college and I was doing lifestyle BDSM at the time. Like I worked at a dungeon in Denver part-time.
Like performing or?
I started performing. Like I started doing live like BDSM demonstrations, and I traveled. I helped like teach classes. I went to conventions. I did that for like 3 years, like all through college. And I started doing like shibari, like the rope modeling. And so I just got more and more into that. And then I was in Portland and I had met those people because my friend was shooting for them, and it was BDSM. We were there for a convention. And a couple months later, they had emailed me and were like, hey, we need a new marketing person. And one of my degrees is I have my bachelor's in journalism, and my focus was advertising and digital brand strategy. So they're like, we need someone that does what you do. Do you want a job in the adult industry? I couldn't find a job in Colorado. Like I was making $12 an hour doing medical records. It sucked. And I was like, fuck yeah, I do. So I like packed up my car and moved to Portland and just started. And then I like started dancing, and it was always just something like it fascinated me. Like it was glamorous and it was different than anything that, it was like everybody that I wasn't gonna get to be, and I wanted to like go do it.
So you weren't like abused or?
No, not at all. I mean, I haven't had the easiest life. Like some bad things have happened to me, but no, like the like desire to go like perform in that regard or like any was just always who.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, it's just like in my own dating life. You know, I would the last. Couple of people were younger of age, but I clearly look back now and go, okay, they had daddy issues, or like they weren't treated well by older guys, and they almost got off on the.
I get off on that kind of stuff a little bit myself, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I like extreme sex, but I try to do it in like a healthy and safe way, and I don't think it says like to me it's cathartic, like. It works out things in my brain. I don't know like how else to. And then I like there's an aspect of the glamour of it too. You get to get really dressed up, and you only have to work. Like if I'm shooting professional porn and not making any money on my OnlyFans, right? Like let's say I had to go to set, it takes me 3 days to pay all my bills for the month. So like that kind of freedom to like go do what you want with your time, and then to also spend those 3 days like, you know, getting really dressed up and then having this awesome, fun, crazy sex, like.
But what's crazy sex to you? Like, to me, crazy sex, you know, is probably pretty tame to what you consider it. Like, you said one of your nominations at the AVNs, which is the Oscars of adult films, was the wildest sex scene.
Most outrageous. Yeah, that was my first one I was ever nominated for. This year I was nominated for Best Virtual Reality Scene. I did a Archie, Betty, and Veronica parody.
Well, let's get to the first award, because I'm the most outrageous sex scene. Does that involve like baseball bats?
Close, really close. So I wasn't actually like the girl that it was happening to. I lived for like maybe 3 weeks. Like I was sleeping on an air mattress. Like I had just come to LA. I had my first agent, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to do this like basically an extra job? You're still going to be in the scene, but you're not actually having sex or anything, and it's kind of crazy, but it pays like $300." And I was like, yeah, I really need a mattress. So
given what you do, you probably need two of them.
I like literally was sleeping on like an inflatable twin mattress from Target. You gotta suffer for your art a little bit. But anyways, I went and did it, and so it was this scene where we were DPing a girl with 2 AVN trophies. So I was in charge of putting the one in her pussy and the other girl put it in her butt. And then we like fucked it. They're not designed to go inside of people, and it was I mean, I've been here like 3 weeks, and they're just like, yeah, so you're gonna just stick this, and they're huge, they're really heavy, they have like a heavy base.
How sanitary is that?
I mean, we clean them with alcohol and everything first. Porn sets are actually really sanitary. Everything gets like wiped down. We use Cavicide, which is like an industrial strength like cleaner on stuff.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're actually very like. Yeah.
And like the other, like, did you win the award?
No, I didn't win for that one.
Jesus, that didn't win an award?
No, it didn't win. The one that won was they did a puppet porn, and the guy like fucked a puppet couch, and it was Tommy Pistol actually. And I came up to him afterwards because we were in Vegas, and I like saw him, and I was like, you totally deserve to win. I'm so glad you beat me for that. Fuck the couch.
Well, I mean, well, it's funny. I was offered once to do a particular network. Was like, hey, there's this comic, Tommy Pistol. He's in porn. He's going to host a show. You're going to be one of the comics, and it never happened. But
I try to get him to go to mics with me all the time, like constantly.
Well, it's got to be tough when you're an established star like he is. I'll guess he doesn't want to wait to do 3 or 5 minutes and wait 2 hours to do it.
I mean, he wouldn't mind it. He's kind of shy. A lot of porn people are actually pretty shy and will stay at home. So plus he has family and stuff. So.
Oh, is he married or?
I mean, he's married, but he's kids. So yeah.
Now, how many women? We got to wrap this up, but like I said, it's go on for hours. Like, if you are there a lot of female performers who've had kids and go back to?
Yeah.
I mean, does that affect your down there area in terms of
I've never
sexual
had kids,
performance?
So I don't know. But I've had sex with girls who've had kids, and I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't. No, not for a very long time, if ever. No.
Because when I heard Jenna Jameson had twins years ago, I was like, wow, those kids must have felt like they were on a water park ride. Because I would imagine the birth canal's a little bigger. But hey, what do I know? Well, I guess no one's doing comedy again. Where can people, they're not doing comedy anytime soon. Where can people find you online? Because you were very cool to come here and talk about this in a funny way.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I like I said, I was fascinated and will always be fascinated by pornography. It blows me away that there's a porno theater still.
Oh yeah, I've had sex in a porno theater. I feel like that's a really cool sentence to be able to say when you're 26.
With a man?
Yeah.
And were you guys
No, we were dating, and I lived in Colorado still, and we were just out on a date, and we went into this sex shop just for fun, and it had a porno theater in it. And my buddy Ryan was working behind the counter, and I walked in and I was like, Ryan, what the fuck? And my date's like, of course you know this guy. Why wouldn't you know the person at the random sex toy store that we just walked into? And I was like, Ryan, can we go watch the movies? And he's like, go do whatever you want. I don't give a shit. And so we went upstairs and it was empty, so we just banged in one of the and then at one point this guy walked in who's exactly who you think would go to a porno theater. The glasses, the mustache, the button down short sleeve shirt.
Sure.
Yeah. And he walks in, and I was bent over the seat, and I turned around and saw him, and he just kind of goes, and I didn't know what to do, so I was and then he walked away. It was very funny.
I mean, I was blown away by what I went to the porno theater once.
Yeah.
I was just I was at the Comedy Store. I didn't set. I was just in a good mood. I sleep for a while. I'm like, I've always wanted to go in there. So I asked this female comic, hey, will you go there with me? Because I think it leans more toward the gay side. And she's like, yeah, I'll go. And we go in, and it's a full sex club. People were fucking and doing all kinds of things. And how is this place allowed to be in business? In terms of just the safety code.
Yeah, right.
And then I went there, they had 6 theaters, and the main one is this beautiful, almost theater-like room. So when I did Roast Battle for Comedy Central, and I did pretty good on the show, this executive comes up to me and goes, hey, do you have any ideas? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do a special. And he's like, well, I mean, everyone wants to do a special, but what would be so special about your special? I want to do it in a porno theater I was recently in. Because it's the perfect size. It probably could see people. I mean, the smell was horrific. But I just think it would be funny.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
To, and have a red carpet. Yeah. And it's just wacky point. But the guy, that was my last time on Comedy Central.
I hate doing red carpets. That is my least favorite part of porn.
Well,
I hate that.
Why?
It takes forever. You're in a really long line. The one at AVN goes through